Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are doing the 2020 Libertarian Primary under, a different format. We're doing what if the Libertarian Party did in every single state. Well, I'm going to use the Democratic primary map for this. Very similar. I've only got 3 candidates, as these 3 were the only 3 viable candidates, and you'll see why here in a second. But, after Super Tuesday, we're going to talk about the super delegates. That's the perfect time for me. Now, if you take a look at this, Vermin Supreme was, of course, the populist candidate. Jacob Hornberger was definitely the right candidate, I guess you could say. He was the Gary Johnson. Everybody thought he was going to win because he was very popular with both the establishment and the populist community. He could appeal to both. He kind of vote split between Supreme and Jurgensen. And Joe Jurgensen is actually the establishment pick, and it shows because the delegates, or the pundits in the Libertarian delegate count, I guess you could say, nominated her, even though Jacob Hornberger was in the lead when it came to the popular vote, meaning the Libertarian Party's, the voters in the Libertarian Party, your vote doesn't matter pretty much. Your primaries don't even matter. They could have nominated freaking Justin Amash, and he chose not to run if they wanted to, and he got 3 votes. So that's probably what could have happened. But I am now going to start filling out this map. Iowa, Jacob Hornberger would win this state. 46, Vermin Supreme would come in second. Say 31, 34. Let's increase that to 46. There you go. Jurgensen would win 17. So Hornberger would win the state. He has very good appeal within the Rust Belt, especially when it comes to his policies. Very center-right, center-left when it comes to all of that. New Hampshire, this is Vermin Supreme territory. He would win this very big. I would say over 50. He'd win 56, 54% of the vote easily. Hornberger would come in, win 37. Jurgensen would take the rest. Then you would have to split the vote evenly. There you go. Jurgensen doesn't even get votes in the New Hampshire primary. She doesn't. Nevada, we're going to do Nevada now. This is a state that I think Jurgensen could do better, and I think she would break 30. Well, she would hit 30. Hornberger would eventually win this state. He'd probably get 44% of the vote. I don't think Vermin Supreme would do all that well in this race, but he'd still get delegates. So there you go. Hornberger's in the lead. Supreme is right up on his tail, and Jurgensen's in third. But, she's still not giving up. Jurgensen actually won this South Carolina primary in, or I guess caucus, whatever it was. I could care less. But she actually won before the whole before the whole delegate vote even happened. So she has that appeal in South Carolina somehow. So I'm going to say 48% of the vote. Hornberger right behind her with, let's say, 40. Supreme gets the rest. Supreme wouldn't break 15 in the South. Never, I don't think, unless it was just a 2-person race. Then you would split the delegates evenly. Jurgensen actually picks up a state. Now we must take a look at the Super Tuesday states. Let's take a look. Let's see. California. I think this is a state that all 3 could do well in. I think they all 3 have good support base within the state of California. Hornberger would say 39. I think Jurgensen, due to her winning South Carolina, I think her momentum would cause her to nearly pick up the state, and Supreme would pick up the rest. And there you go. She picks up the state of California. Utah, Hornberger wins the state easily. He's got that appeal to that Mormon base. I'm going to say 41% of the vote. Supreme would not be popular. He wouldn't break 15. Jurgensen would hit 20%. Supreme gets 10 easily. Let's see, 48. There you go. Let me just allocate this properly. There you go. So Jacob Hornberger will win 51% of the vote, roughly. Jurgensen win 34, Supreme 13. Then you would allocate properly. This is how I allocate properly for my videos, just to let you know. Vermin Supreme would actually do very well in Colorado. Because he was very popular in the Northeast, or I call it the New England area, and he would do well. He wants the legalization of pot, which will help him greatly. I think he won't break 40. I don't think any of these candidates will, but he'll do good. Hornberger, he'll hit, let's say 32, and Jurgensen will pick up the rest. So Vermin Supreme picks up a state on Super Tuesday. Now we have to take a look at the state of Oklahoma. This is a state Hornberger wins. I'm going to say he wins it over 50, 54% of the vote. Jurgensen is right there behind him, 32. Supreme, of course, does not hit 15% in the South, ever. I don't think he will ever hit 15% unless it was a 2-person race. Then you would allocate the vote properly. And there you go. Texas, this is another state Hornberger will win over 50. If he'll win 52% of the vote roughly, I think Jurgensen will hit 37. Supreme will pick up the rest. Allocate properly. There you go. The state of Arkansas, another state Hornberger is going to pick up. He's going to do very well in the South. He won't break 50. He won't break 50. I don't think. I don't believe he would. But she won't break. She'll break 32. She'll hit 41. Narrowly lose to this guy in Arkansas. She's only doing so. She would only do so well because she picked up South Carolina. Very similar to Joe Biden. Tennessee. Yeah, I think Tennessee was there. Hornberger, he would break 50. I think he would hit 50, roughly 50, 51. Let's put it 51. Now, if you're asking who my favorite candidate was in the Libertarian primary, it was Lincoln Chafee, but he had dropped out. I think it was after Iowa, so there goes my luck. Then I was supporting Hornberger, so... Jurgensen, she'd hit 34. Supreme would pick up the rest. He would almost break 15 in Arkansas, but won at the end of the day. Allocate properly. North Carolina, I think Supreme does well in North Carolina, honestly. There's a lot of weird people down here. But I love these people in North Carolina. He'd get close again. But Hornberger, I don't think he'd break 50. I don't think he would. 46, and Jurgensen would pick up the rest. Allocate properly. There you go. Now let's talk about Alabama. Hornberger wins the state. He hits 53% of the vote. Jurgensen, 42. Hornberger, Supreme hits the rest. Allocate properly to the two candidates who did break 50. And Virginia, Hornberger wins the state. There you go. 46, let's say. Jurgensen hits 38. And Vermin Supreme would narrowly break 15 in Virginia. Maybe. I'm being very generous to Vermin Supreme. He is not a viable candidate. I'm not saying he's stupid. I'm sure he's got good intentions, but still. Maine, or let's do Vermont. Vermin Supreme would win every single state up in here. I do believe that. Vermin Supreme wins. He breaks 50 in Vermont. Joe Jurgensen would break 37. And, of course, you allocate properly. Joe Jurgensen only gets 6% of the vote. Not popular at all in the Northeast. Vermin Supreme wins in Vermont. Same thing with Massachusetts, except he doesn't break 50%. He gets 49. He'd be close. Jurgensen will break, let's say, 42. Jurgensen, once again, allocate properly. And there you go. Now, for Maine... Supreme does well again. I don't know how he's so popular in the New England area. He just is. 41%. Hornberger, actually very popular in Maine. I think he almost... Wait, they didn't have a thing. Never mind. I'm stupid. Jurgensen narrowly breaks 15 in Maine. And there you go. 11-9 to 4. There you go. There's Super Tuesday done and over with. Jacob Hornberger leads 673 delegates. Joe Jurgensen is in second with 513, and Vermin Supreme's 232. Now everyone's talking about the super delegates, the actual official thing, because guess what? Your vote doesn't matter in the Libertarian primary. But this one does. My version. Joe Jurgensen wins. She crushes these two super delegates. She wins 68% of the vote. 68% of super delegates, which puts her over 1,000. These two won't even break 1,000. Oh, Lord. Jacob Hornberger hits 14%. No, he'll do better than Vermin Supreme. Vermin Supreme will only get like 8% of the vote of the super delegates. And just Supreme doesn't do all that well. Hornberger, these two were just crushed by Joe Jurgensen when it comes to super delegates. She was the establishment pick, and they're going to make sure she is elected to that office. Vermin Supreme would drop out of the race after this because there is no need for him to run again. So it's a two-person race between Jacob Hornberger and Joe Jurgensen. Now, up until this point, I had it memorized. Now I got to look up the 2020 Democratic primary schedule because that's what I'm going off of. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Sorry that I don't have the whole schedule mapped out in the back of my head. Okay, now we have Super Tuesday 2. Jacob Hornberger actually does well in this. He actually wins the state of Idaho, he barely makes it over what Jurgensen won. Michigan, this is a state that I think Jurgensen will win just based off of the fact she won't win it big. She'll win 56% of the delegates. Hornberger will win the rest. But she only wins the state just because of her lead over Hornberger and how as if winning super delegates means anything. But that's just how it is. It worked for Clinton in 2016. It's going to work for Jurgensen this time. In Mississippi, again, I think Jurgensen narrowly picks off the state of Mississippi. Again, hold on. She narrowly picks it off. Missouri, she will not win Missouri. Jacob Hornberger did too well in the state. He'll win 64% of the vote, and she'll win the rest, but it won't matter. It will not matter. North Dakota, she will win every single delegate in North Dakota because they have a closed caucus. They will pick the establishment over Jacob Hornberger any day. Washington, the state of Washington, she will win the state of Washington. I'm going to assume Vermin Supreme would endorse her like he did in real life. She'll win roughly 58% of the vote. Hornberger will pick off the rest. She'll win the state of Washington. She only needs 1991 to win. Actually, I think it's more than that, actually. Hold on, since we got super delegates. It's, God. I gotta do math. Great. 3,979 divided by 2. Let's say, wait, huh? Oh, never mind. I don't know anymore. Anyway. Don't I look stupid? Let's see. And that was it. Jurgensen does well. She demolishes Jacob Hornberger on Super Tuesday 2. Now we'll look at Super Tuesday 3. She narrowly picks off Arizona. Narrowly, of course. Narrowly picks it off. Like, it is close. Florida, she narrowly picks off the state of Florida. She is not that good of a candidate, and Jacob Hornberger is going to be doing everything he can to win. Same thing with Illinois. Narrowly. Like, it is these states would be considered too close to call. The state of Wisconsin narrowly picks it off. She don't care as long as she wins, pretty much. It's how it works. Pretty sure she paid off the entire delegates to vote for her anyway, so I'm not saying that's truth, but that's just how it is. Again, I think Alaska would have gone to Supreme if he's still in the race, but of course I think he's going to endorse Jurgensen in this timeline, and then she would win the state of Alaska by big numbers. Wyoming, I think Hornberger wins that. He wins it 57 to 32. Very close considering how big he won in some of these other southern states. Okay, Ohio, another state. I think Hornberger is going to try his best to win the state, but it's still not going to be enough. I think it's going to be a 50-50 tie in the state when it comes to delegates. It'll be down to the wire, but that's Kansas is another state. Jurgensen won before the delegates counted, so I think she'll win big. This will be her biggest win to date. She'll win 74, maybe 75% of the vote, but she will demolish Hornberger in the state. Nebraska, same thing here. This was after she won the state after the delegates were counted. So she would win 62% of the vote. Hornberger would win 37%. If Nebraska was before the delegate counts, I guarantee you Hornberger would have won that state. Oregon, again, I think Jurgensen wins the state. Let's say 62% of the vote over Hornberger. She has not broken halfway yet. Hawaii. This is another state I think Jurgensen wins. I think this was a state that good old. I think she'll almost win every single delegate in Hawaii. Hornberger will narrowly crack 15. Narrowly, but he'll break 15 and get delegates. But again, I think Hawaii would have been a state Vermin Supreme would have won. DC, Jurgensen will win every single delegate in DC. At this point, Hornberger just doesn't contest. He's in the race to hopefully cause a contested convention. He's just hoping. Indiana, another state, Jurgensen wins. She wins it, I don't want to say narrowly. She probably hits 62% of the vote to Hornberger's 37%. Maryland, another state she wins. This time by a bigger margin because of that Supreme endorsement. Montana, I think she narrowly carries Montana. Narrowly. The only state in the Bible Belt she's winning. Narrowly carries it. Good old New Mexico. This would have been a state Hornberger is going to narrowly hold. Just narrowly. He'll be counting his lucky stars that he won New Mexico and that he can still contest. Let's see what's next. Pennsylvania. She wins Pennsylvania. That's just how this stuff works, guys. I can't help it. Like, superdelegates are evil. They're evil! Rhode Island, she wins Rhode Island by... She breaks 60 in Rhode Island. Let's see, South Dakota. Hornberger narrowly holds on to the state of South Dakota. Narrowly holds on to it. Let's see, we're not doing districts. Georgia, she wins the state of Georgia. She breaks 60 in the state. West Virginia, she actually does very well in West Virginia with the whole delegate thing. When the Vermin Supreme vote endorsement, she breaks 70 and wins it big. Almost at that halfway point. Just needs like 300 or so delegates. New York or Kentucky, she narrowly carries it. Now we take a look at New York. Jacob Hornberger won this state in real life, but I think Joe Jurgensen narrowly wins it, which almost puts her over the edge. Almost. Delaware, I think she will almost carry it, all of their delegates, but Hornberger will just narrowly break 15 again. New Jersey, same thing with New Jersey. Hornberger just narrowly breaks 15. That's just going to be the pattern for the rest of this video. Just him barely making it. Oh crap, I forgot Minnesota. Let's see, since Minnesota was in the primary, I'm going to give it to Hornberger. Let's say he wins 54. Jurgensen wins 30. Supreme will break it. There you go. There. Louisiana, Jurgensen narrowly carries it. She has already won this election. Jurgensen drops out and she wins the state of Connecticut. She's won. She just limped her way to the nomination, pretty much. She has limped her way. But yeah, that's the Libertarian primary if it was done the correct way, I guess you could say, where your votes actually matter, in a sense. But we still did it with the superdelegates, so there's that. Tell me how you enjoyed this video. Did I make you libertarians mad? Or do you agree with me that your vote doesn't matter and you're okay with it? Because I'm sure that's why you're still a libertarian. Who knows? Anyway, guys, this is the Chaotic One saying, peace.